I'm going to tell you things that you already know, but put them in a way that I hope will be useful when you're stuck, when you're trying to influence someone who you just can't seem to get anywhere with, or when you're trying to influence somebody who's new and you don't know very well and you only get one shot. I can summarize everything with 6 words. I call these the magic words that are the secret of the universe. The 6 words are, everyone expects to be paid back. What that is about reciprocity. The world works on reciprocity. That's the glue that holds people together. People do things and they expect that somehow or other, in some way, in some form, they're going to get some kind of return. People let themselves be influenced because they see some benefit. What the benefit is, that's a different question. So here's a model that gives you a sense of how it is that you can influence someone when you're stuck, when you have to do diagnosis. First of all, assume that everyone, even the really difficult person, is a potential ally. What I mean by that is that everyone could be an ally if you can figure out what it is they're interested in so you have something eventually to trade. And if you assume they're an ally, then you don't write them off and call them a jerk just because they're not cooperating. You stop and say, how could I find that little bit of overlap, that area where we have some common interests, and we use those common interests to trade. The second thing is obvious, and yet we see people all the time not doing it. Clarify your goals and priorities. Don't come with a laundry list, laying it on people of all the things you want. And don't bring your personal agenda into the particular work request you've got. Now, the next thing is a little complicated. If you don't know the other person, and you're not sure what's likely to be important to them, you can actually diagnose the world they live in. You can look at their job. What do they have to do? You can see, what does their boss expect? You can look at how they're measured and rewarded. You can look at the way in which their peers press on them, the culture of the organization. You could even look at their educational background and decide if that gives you some cues. You don't want to stereotype. You don't want to have people pigeonholed. But you'd like to have a rolling start on the forces acting on them which are likely to cause them behave in certain ways. And you can do that even if you don't know their personality. If you happen to know their personality, what they deeply value, that's great. But if you don't, you can still do a lot of diagnosis. You use all of that, plus what they say, to identify what I call their currencies, the things they value. Currencies are a metaphor for things that are important. And you look at those currencies and say, what are they? What does that person care about? Is it about inspiration? Is it about making the task easier or harder, more challenge? Is it about their position in the organization? Is it about their relationships? What are the things they really care about? If you understand that, you can then ask, what do I control? Which of those could I pay in? And you can literally give some of that in order to get what you like. The problem is, if you have a bad relationship, you might have to stop and deal with that first. So that would be the next stage. Think about, how good is the relationship? Do I need to spend some time getting to know the person? Do I need to do some small transaction in which I give a little first, so I make myself vulnerable in order to get them to give back? And then finally, when you know what to trade, you can give and take. Using this basic idea, you could influence anyone, upwards, outside the organization, even your own subordinates who you probably have noticed don't take orders so well either. But if you can think about what's important to people, that'll let you know what you might do for them in order to get them to cooperate with you.